Hi, it's that crazy Kate, your favorite. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about letting people go and maybe not breaking up with them specifically, but just kind of moving on from them. Breaking up if you're in a relationship, just kind of moving on if you're friends or, connected to them in some way. I know sometimes people have to deal with it, like with their family members and stuff. Thankfully, I've never had to deal with that. But I have a really hard time letting people go. And I don't know if it's because since I was a child, I've been like a social worker before I even knew what one was. I was always like really caring and really sensitive and really trying to flip the situation and look at things from a different perspective and, kind of see how the other person would feel if I had done whatever it was they had done to me. But I think it also is I don't like to move on from people in anger. Like I don't like unfinished business. I don't like just cutting people off without giving them a chance to kind of explain themselves, because I feel like if it was reversed, I would want that. Like I would want the chance to say, hey, I messed up and it was really dumb, but here's why. Or I have no excuse, but I feel really bad and like, I'm sorry, whatever. Um, and honestly, it's something that I've struggled with my whole life, and I really feel like that's why people take advantage of me. And it's kind of like a chronic problem in my life. People are always taking care of or taking advantage of me. And I feel like it's because I'm kind of predictable in the sense that I if I have an argument with someone, I might sass them a little bit. It's not really my style, but I might, just to put them in their place, I might sass them a little bit. But typically what I do is I get cold. I'm half German. So I get really cold and I kind of will like not ignore them, but just kind of blow them off for a while until I've had time to sit with it and think about it and like really decide what I want to say, because I don't want to just snap and say something that I'm going to regret, because I'm not that kind of person. And I would, even if I hated the person, I would always feel bad about it. And I think this inability to like lash out at people because I'm angry kind of gives the interpretation that I'm backing down. And that's not really the case. It's just like, I don't like to argue. I don't like to go back and forth with people, especially in my experience. People are going to just argue with you because they think they're right. So certain personalities, they don't want to listen to you. They don't want to see your side of the story. They just want to say what they want to say. And then if you don't agree with them, then it's like you're garbage and, they don't really care to listen to you. So basically I just become kind of cold and I go silent and I kind of just think about stuff for a few days. And then after I've had time to kind of process it, I'm over it. And it's like, I have a really good memory, even being pregnant with pregnant brain. I have like a crazy good memory. It's crazy. I don't forget stuff and I don't necessarily forgive the person, but I'm past being angry. Like I'm done with it. Like, there's things that have happened that I to this day will never forget. And if I ever see the people that are involved, I'll make sure that I'm like, hey, remember that one time you did A, B, and C? That's why I don't talk to you anymore. But I'm over it. You know what I mean? I'm over being mad. I'm not over it. I'm just over being mad. And it's not that I don't care about people. It's not that I don't care and that's why I don't want to talk to them or whatever. It's like, I just need time to kind of process how I feel about it. And, even in some cases kind of think back on like what I said to maybe make them react that way and whatever. And during this time, I'm always thinking back on like what I'm not going to do. Like I'm not going to text them first. And if they text me, I may not even text them back. And this is what I tell myself. It's not usually what happens. I usually end up just being like, oh, it's fine. I'm over it, whatever. Or I say like, they're dead to me. Like, I don't care. I don't care what happens. But then it's like a few days go by and I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I'm still really pissed off, but I'm not the type of person that's going to hold a grudge or stay mad for like 100 years because someone lied about their age or someone, you know, hit my car in the driveway or whatever. It's like you have to just move on from stuff because you're the one who's suffering if you're angry and miserable, you know what I mean? And sometimes I think I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I overreacted, or maybe not overreacted outwardly, but inwardly, like I got really upset and I'm kind of neurotic and like I assess everything that people say to me. And I'm like, what's that mean? Why'd they say that? You know, and my husband's like, maybe it's like nothing. Like you're just taking it the wrong way. You know, you're just like, taking it personally or whatever. So sometimes I think like I overreact and I'm kind of like inwardly hard on people and I get really angry and I'm like, oh, they're so rude. But then other times I'm like, you know, I handled this with a clear head and I didn't say something I would regret. And honestly, like, the bottom line is that I'm not going to be mistreated. Like, I don't care if you're the president or my best friend or like a family member. If you freaking sass me and are rude to me and with no good reason, excuse me, then like, I'm not going to take that. Like, I'm not going to sit and scream at you like an episode of Jersey Shore, but I'm not going to take your shit. Like, that's just not going to happen. And I feel like in moving on, sometimes it's just like in domestic violence situations, like there's always things that are keeping you there. Like in some of your really old friendships, some of your romantic relationships, like there's just something that's keeping you there. Like, you know, you obviously care about them. You see something really good in them and you want them to do the right thing, or you know they can do the right thing. They're just like not doing it or whatever. And I feel like that kind of renews our relationships. And in my case, in previous relationships, you know, I would give chance after chance after chance and I'd get really, really mad. And then like 3 days later, I'd be like, you know, he's a really good guy. And you know, this was just like one stupid thing, like he just backtalked me or he told me he didn't like my shirt or, you know, something stupid that I was probably a little sensitive about. Or like one of my ex-boyfriends, who was like, he was a decent ex-boyfriend. He was pretty good to me. He told me he quit smoking and he hid it from me for years because he knew, not years, for months. I'm sorry. He hid it from me for months because he knew that I hated it and I thought it was disgusting. And I used to always say when him and his best friend smoked together, well, at the time they smoked together, and I would be like, oh my God, he's so disgusting. Like your best friend is so handsome and his girlfriend is so beautiful. They're married now, by the way, with 3 kids. How does he smoke? Like, I don't understand. And my boyfriend would be like, oh yeah, I know, it's so bad. I'm so glad I quit. And then I freaking found out he was smoking. And I was like, I know it sounds really stupid, but I'm like, I could dump you right now because you've been lying to me this whole time about something that you knew was going to piss me off. And now I'm just supposed to be okay with it instead of you saying, you know, hey, I don't really care what you think. I'm going to keep smoking. Like I smoked before you and I'm going to smoke after you. And that's just the way it is. But like, you know, so I gave it a few days and I was like, this is a dumb reason to break up with someone, even though I think it's disgusting. You know, he was a good guy. And I'm like, you know, he wants to quit, blah, blah, blah. You know, so there's like, and I'm sure like in other relationships, there's tons of things that hold people there that no matter what they do, you're like, you know, well, this person's really good. And, you know, this one thing was bad, but I know they can be good. I've seen it. You know, I owe it to our relationship, but we owe it to each other to try again. And, you know, honestly, refusing to give up on someone isn't a crime. I actually think it's a really good trait. And not just because I have it, but, you know, I think it's only natural to have a really big sense of hope in the person that you care about. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be involved with them. I mean, you wouldn't be friends with someone that you don't give a shit about, right? Like you wouldn't be in a relationship with someone that you think is like a piece of garbage. Like obviously, you know, that's how you should feel. You should have confidence in them as a person, even when they disappoint you. And you know, bottom line is, while not everybody deserves a second chance, I think that we really should respect the people that choose to give them to other people, because, you know, I've been in a situation where I was like pristine, had never done anything wrong, and I did one thing wrong, and it was really, really bad, really bad. And it was only one thing. But if I hadn't been given a second chance, I don't know where I would be right now. So I just feel like sometimes, you know, sometimes people screw up, and it's like you just have to determine when people are taking advantage of you, or when, you know, they just make genuine mistakes and they're idiots sometimes and they just lose track of what they're supposed to be doing with their life. So bottom line is, sometimes you just have to, you know, hope for the best and have faith in people. And I hope that figuring out the difference between someone who's, you know, doing the same problem over and over again and someone who messes up once comes easy to you. And I hope you have a good day.